What is happening at JGame Dude here, and I'm going to be overreacting or pretty much pulling apart the trailer for the Switch 2. So just to kind of give everyone an idea, I'm pretty sure everyone has already seen the Nintendo Switch 2 trailer, but I'm going to go into it in exceptional detail for no reason at all, but partly to take the piss out of it, but partly to actually kind of, I guess, explain what I'm looking at. So let's actually jump right on into it. And of course, we won't actually have any audio from the Switch 2 trailer because I do not even want to consider what Nintendo would do when it came to copywriting it. So first and foremost, we've kind of just got the Switch right then and there. You've got the two Joy-Cons, the left and right ones, removed, and then you have the screen go slightly bigger in size. Now it's rotating a little bit, so to the right, I want to say, yes, so screen gets slightly larger, then we see the right side of the screen, like the top right corner, and then we can see that the edging is a little bit different, but also the sides now have a slightly larger, I want to say, indent or inlet or whatever you want to call it. And then on the underside, we've got speakers and a USB-C port and what looks to be screws. I'm not too sure what that thing is in the middle though. Then we have a power button and a couple of volume buttons. So I assume this time now we're looking at the top left of it. And we do also have what looks like fans going across the top and another USB-C cable on the top alongside a headphone jack. And we can kind of see here, it looks like there's a game card area here. So it's probably fair to assume that there's going to be USB-C ports on both the bottom side and also the top side, which is neat for anyone who likes playing games when you're laying down. So you have volume, power, and then you've got the fans going across, and then boom, we've got the second USB-C cable. And then at the back, we've got a bit of an indentation that makes, not indentation, but rather like a cut being made, and that cut then becomes a kickstand. So it looks like we now actually have a proper kickstand this time around, one that seems to be a bit better. No, it's significantly better than the original Switch kickstand, which was just a tiny little flap that came out. I'm pretty sure a lot of kids broke their Switch kickstands, which I still have the original Switch, and currently it's upstairs. Still, that little kickstand thing is still on there, so I haven't broken it yet. I say yet, it could happen at any time, but this looks like a significantly more decent kickstand, but again, it does seem a little bit flimsy because it does seem a bit thin, like lacking in weight, but it allows for a bit more flexibility as it keeps going, and now it's just kind of snapped. Now we have both the Joy-Cons, the left and the right ones, turning around, and now they're black in color and of course slightly larger, maybe to kind of, you know, keep up with the screen. Now we've got tints of what looks like a cream color around the joystick, but also where you would expect the Joy-Con to connect to the Switch. So that pops out, and then we have ourselves the SL and SR buttons of the Joy-Con, and I think those are, yeah, and I think we've got like a sync button here, and I think this little thing is going to connect to maybe something that's going to stick out of the side, because again, we assume that these Joy-Cons are going to be magnetic, because that's kind of what the whole rumor mill was going on. But we've got the home button, of course, here. And then we have the same thing happening, but on the other Joy-Con. So now we have a blue tint rather than a creamish tint. Same buttons. And then we have the face buttons. Of course, they're just kind of moving around. Same thing with the stick. It looks like the sticks are not going to be that different because, funnily enough, the sticks are still, like, they don't allow your thumb to, or your thumb or your fingers to kind of stick in. They're still kind of convex rather than concave, so to speak. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Then it feels like, you know, your Joy-Cons are mice. Now, I don't know if there's any sort of mouse-like compatibility that it can work similarly like PC games. I'm not too sure about that. But we do have the straps that you put around your arms or rather your wrists. So interesting to see those on here. Okay, no, wait. So apparently that was an add-on. So technically you could use it as a mouse? Huh, that's interesting. Because you can see here, it just comes right off. And the attachment remained on the desk or the table or whatever you want to call it. So that's that's very interesting. And then we have, of course, the slightly larger screen of the Switch 2. The two Joy-Cons of different color and different tint, especially when one of them isn't even red anymore, but rather a sort of orange, creamish like color, like a very light orange at that too. And then you can see the colors are representing what, or these LEDs here to represent what player you are, player 1, 2, 3, 4. And you've got this little thing sticking out, which, yeah, I kind of assumed that's the magnetic aspect of snapping those Switch Joy-Cons into the actual Switch console, and boom, we have a number 2, specifically the Switch 2. So at least Nintendo kind of took someone's advice or took their own advice rather, learned from their previous lessons, and instead of making the Wii to Wii U, and instead of calling this the Switch U or whatever, they're calling it the Switch 2. Because the Wii was exceptionally successful, the Wii U caused a lot of confusion and ultimately hurt Nintendo a lot. Then we got the Switch, which has done an exceptional job in bringing things back, and now the Switch 2 is hopefully going to carry that on. And with the change in color, the slightly bigger size, there's some color, of course, the not being, red highlights, but rather the sort of orangey creamish highlight. All of these are done in an attempt to try and separate what is a Switch to a Switch 2. But I feel like at some point, some parents and grandparents are going to confuse the Switch 2 with the Switch in some way. Like, that's always going to happen at some point, but this is the best thing they could have done, at least from the way that I'm looking at things and over analyzing this entire trailer. Now, of course, we've got sort of a bit more of a highlight. Again, we've got the Switch 2 logo at the back, and then we have Mario Kart here. And there's something very specific I wanted to look at, which was we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 4 rows of 6 starting lines, which means potentially the next Mario Kart will have up to like 24 players, which is insane to think about, because anti-gravity was the big thing in Mario Kart 8, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is just a repackaging, re-release of Mario Kart 8. So with that, we might assume that this is Mario Kart 9. Again, nothing official has been released. Also, we can see that this is in fact a desert track. We're not 100% sure as to what kind of desert track this is. But we see some of the usual suspects. So we've got, Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Toad. Who else do we have here? We've got Peach, we've got Yoshi, we've got Wario at the back there. And interestingly enough, this is apparently what the dock's going to look like, and it's got a single cable coming out of the back. But it's interesting to see that this Switch 2 logo was actually the same logo that I've seen on Google Images when people tried to create a mock-up of it. And I mean, I don't think you could be more on the money when it comes down to it. But also note that there's a decent amount of screen space that is visible on the actual dock. So maybe they're going to show a little bit more information here while the Switch is docked, because all you could see on the original Switch was how much the thing was charged. So I feel like that's quite an interesting thing to look at. But there we go. So there's a Switch 2. We have Mario Kart in the back. We have the holder in between. So I assume that this thing, I forgot what it's called for the original Switch, is going to be slightly larger in order to accommodate the slightly larger Joy-Cons and hopefully the slightly larger screen. But yeah. Oh, we've got, Yoshi's burger joint almost here on the right side. But now we have the year 2025 visible on the screen. And with it, plays Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games as well as Nintendo Switch games. So, Nintendo Switch 2 plays both physical and digital Switch games. Certain Switch games may not be supported or fully compatible with the Switch 2. Details will be shared on the Nintendo website at a later date. So it's fair to say that I was kind of right when we were looking at the top, that is where the Switch card goes. And you can kind of see the difference both in size between the original Switch and the Switch 2. How it's slightly larger in size, slightly longer. The changes in tint, color, the placement of the buttons are pretty much exactly the same from what I can tell here. So hopefully it kind of maybe runs games a bit better. Who knows what's actually under the hood? That's not really been discussed or shown, at least yet. So yeah, the trailer is still going, but we have here the Nintendo Direct for the Switch 2 is going to be on the 2nd of April 2025. Some people have seen the date and thought 2nd of April must be the release date, but I think looking at this, it feels like it's going to definitely be the Switch 2 Direct. And of course there's going to be a bunch of hands-on events around the world. I wonder if there's going to be any in my neck of the woods, because I highly doubt it. But yeah, that was the Switch 2 trailer, and me pausing at every possible moment to kind of overanalyze the details of what's going on, looking at the current Switch, figuring out the differences. And I'm not a huge Switch person because I play most of my Switch games on my Steam Deck, so most likely I'm going to be doing the same for the Switch 2, but we'll have to see how things go, because a lot of people are commenting on Switch 2 trailer reactions and stuff like that, and news reactions and whatever have you, because a lot of people are saying stuff like, oh, I'll emulate the Switch 2 on the next generation Steam Deck, or I'm not going to buy another Nintendo console until they drop their lawsuit with Pal World and stuff like that. So people are kind of doing what they do. Interesting to see how that'll go. But with all things considered, we're at a very interesting spot here. And of course, as of right now, 17 hours after the actual release of this this trailer, it's already got a absolutely massive 14.3 million views, number 16 on trending, and it is going to be releasing in 2025. So at least if nothing else, that's something that they've certainly done right there. So insane to think about. And with a whopping nearly 1 million likes and 23k dislikes, I feel like we can only guess who disliked the video, though I'm not really a fan of, again, the Switch console as a whole anyways. But hey, I might look to pick it up maybe later on down, depending on what the emulation scene looks like as a whole. But with all that being said though, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. What are your thoughts about the Switch 2, but also the details surrounding it, and also about the many rumors, because quite a lot of them seem to be true, but some things we're just not quite 100% on, so we can only really speculate so much. But hopefully we'll get more information on the 2nd of April, because God knows that the 1st of April would have been a terrible idea, all things considered. But with all that being said though, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Like the video if you like to, subscribe to the channel. I am aiming for 500 subs by the end of the year. With all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.